All right, let's try this. All right. Everybody hear me okay? I hope so, anyways. Sorry I had to end the other stream. I don't know why it did that necessarily. So, all right, cool. Hopefully we have got this. It's going to take me a minute to get this figured out. The other one was working and it quit. So, not sure. Hopefully people will come back over onto this one. Howdy, everybody. We're still figuring all this out, trying to get everybody over onto the new one. So, appreciate y'all's patience. Trying to get this figured out still. So, I'll bear with us for a second. All right. Probably gonna go kind of rough. First one, trying to do by myself, trying to do a Q&A. Not using StreamYard. Ted said I could use a StreamYard, but trying to get this figured out. So, if anybody like to start asking questions, that is what we're here for. And if I miss any, I will try my best to go back through and get them. Got to help a buddy of mine today get into bench rest. He's just now getting over to the ARA side of it, and so helping him has been a pretty good day. Hope all y'all have had a good start to the new year. What got me interested in bench rest? Well, I'll tell you, there's a guy I worked with that he had kind of talked about it a little bit, and a church over. I go to church there now. I wasn't at the time. I was going to a different church, and so I did that, and was like, yeah, let's go and try it, and so I took a 1022 factory 1022 and modified it a little bit, put a barrel and a stock on it, went to the shoot, and it did not end very well. I can say that. I got my butt whipped. We were shooting IR 50-50. Luckily, it was just one card, but it was bad. I think I shot like a 187, something like that. I was shooting CCI mini mags. Yeah, it was rough. But got that figured out and went home, bought a Bergara, and it's sitting over there. It's got a barrel and everything on it now. And then now I've got all the stuff that I've got. And so far down the rabbit hole, I can't see light anymore. So it's definitely been fun, though. Okay. How can somebody get a leather grip holder and feet holder like you have on your S? I got an email in my description here on YouTube. If you'll email me that, and just email me a way to get a hold of you, like your phone number or something, I will get with you. I'm a little backed up right now, trying to get caught up, but I am getting pretty close. So if you'll hit my email up, send me an email, tell me who you are, I will get with you and talk about some pricings and some colors and see what we can get done. Kentucky Rim, finally. I know. I don't know. I don't know what happened really. I had the other one going and it wouldn't let me turn my phone sideways, but it did before. So I had to just end it and get on this one. So let's see. What hearing protection do I use? Well, I don't really use hearing protection. I shoot 22s, don't really use it much. I mean, if I've got something in, I've got headphones in. If I'm shooting anything a little bigger, I've got some walkers, just the earmuffs. I really like those. That way I can still hear what's going on around me and people talking, but it cuts out the actual sound, over a certain decibel. I like that. They're pretty neat if you've never tried them. I highly encourage you to, go and try them. And I made this live stream so you guys would ask questions, and so I can answer some questions that I've had some people hit me up on. And an often question I get asked about is if I'm wanting to get into bench rest, where do I start? Or they think that you got to have a custom gun, and that's not the case. Kind of what I talked about in my intro to bench rest video is take what you got. If you've got a factory gun, I mean, I'm sure there's a class for you. And if there's not, you can just jump into a class and go for it. So I guarantee you that there'll be a lot of people at matches that will be able to help. Jeff Lee's asking, what's your experience with the smaller diameter Harrell bloop tube? Well, funny you should ask that. I was at the range today for about 2 hours trying to help a guy with it. I've had the flame gun back here. It shoots better with a tube than it does without a tube. That's why there's a tube on it. The noodle tube, or the Harrell's tube, they call it a noodle. It was okay. It made it a little bit better. So a lot of times if it shoots better with a noodle, it'll shoot even better with a bigger tube, at least in my experience. RJ Smith's getting in the comments saying it sucked. It definitely did that. His Winchester 52 was not a fan. And it's something you'll know pretty well right away. You don't have to mess with the tuner when you're just trying to tube out or anything like that. Put it on there. If it shoots worse, try to, shoot some groups with it. If it's not doing any better, then it's not going to do you any good. And if you don't notice a change, I'd recommend not to run one, which I know is kind of weird coming from a guy that's got one on every gun he's got, but I literally can't make it up. Like, every gun that I've got just, somehow ended up liking one. Like I said, I kind of wish one of them shot better without a tube, just so I had kind of both sides of the spectrum too without a tube. But they are a lot of fun, and you can definitely tell when you shoot with one. They do definitely sound cool. Like I said, I've shot one pretty much most of the year. I think I put it on the flame gun about February, and it made a world of difference. I went from shooting, a 2000 to 2200, and was able to tune it in a little further from there. But you can definitely tell when I shoot. That is for sure. They are a little bit louder than a normal 22, and they have a definite, distinct sound. Why didn't we see you in Kentucky today? Well, probably because it's about 13 hours from me, and I didn't get a plane ticket sent from me. I was kind of waiting on one, but one didn't show up in the mail. I was waiting, plane ticket, paid expense, hotel. I might have just made it. But the UBR shoot did look like it was a pretty good turnout, especially for the first one and being, on the 1st of January. So congrats to the winners of that shoot. It seemed to be a good one, and I wish it was a little closer. So let's see here. We got J. Crow asking, did I name all of my guns? Pretty much. It's kind of something that I have just started doing. I saw a couple people at a match do it, and then I heard one of the guys talking about if you didn't name a gun, it wasn't ever going to shoot good for you. So tried that. But hey, there's Day at the range. He says, Brock, what happens when you run out of a lot of ammo with the bloop tube? Well, I guess we're gonna go to a different lot. No, I've got a couple different lots. So I've got my best one, which is the one I shoot the most. But you'll find that some ammo doesn't shoot as good in certain conditions. So like with me, I shoot with 3 different lots of ammunition. I take it to pretty much every match that I go to. And I've got one that kind of outshines the other 2, but the other 2 are pretty close. So if my main lot's not working, I'll go back to my one of my backups. So I guess when I run out of my best lot, I will go up to the second lot, and that'll be my best one, or try to find another best lot. So let's see, where were we at? How much tuning for a new lot? Well, a lot of that depends on how the ammo shoots. So a lot of times, if my gun's in tune, which I believe that they are, I don't retune it. So if I shoot another lot of ammo, it should be in tune for another lot. Like the 3 different lots I've got, I don't change the tuner, and if I do, it's like one number. Very rarely 2. Like I think the most I moved it all year long was 2 different numbers. But a lot of that comes down to you better make sure you're keeping it clean, because if you're not cleaning your tuner, it will change your tune even if you haven't actually changed your tuner, because it's adding weight. So it's something you want to make sure that you are paying attention to. And hi to everybody that said hi in the side chat so far. Like I said, I'm not doing this on a computer. My iPad that I was going to try to do it on was really pixelated. Somebody told me that from Chad's show. So not really sure what the deal is there. Still trying to figure that out. So I'm having to scroll through these by hand. So trying to just make sure I can keep up. Oh, let's see. Mike Moore asking, what cleaner do I use? So I use One Shot cleaner. It's a red cleaner. You can get it online or at Atwoods. Comes in a little needle bottle. I use that and that only. The reason for that being is, I've got some different stuff like Vortec and stuff, and I think that's good stuff too. Just that other stuff seems to do the job and get the carbon ring out. So it's just one less thing I've got to carry. Oh, let's see. Oh, girlfriend is in here. So Shaylin Bolin is in here. That is my girlfriend. So everybody go and say hi to her. I appreciate that. J. Crow, do you lock your tuners down when you have a number you want, or keep them free in case you ever need to adjust? So I personally don't lock them down, and I'd recommend not locking them down, just because in the odd chance that you need to click at a number one way or the other, you can't, because it's locked down. Trying to do that during a match can get really stressful, especially if you're like me and you kind of worry on time, which when I worry on time, I have no idea, because I shoot insanely fast. And it's probably not the best thing, but what's works for me, so I'm just going to keep doing it. So no, I don't lock my tuners down, and I'd recommend that you don't either. And hopefully you're not bumping a gun around with a tuner enough to where it does get bumped. But one way to fix that is just to make sure that you are checking your tuner number before you start. So once you set it up on the bench, in your rest, just make sure that everything's right. Let's see, Porky Pig 22 long rifle. I see a buttload of team match, Lapua, Norma, and a little bit of what looks like Fiocchi. I guess it's supposed to say Fiocchi. An SK rifle. Question, where is the Monarch? That is a good question. I heard that a fellow named Boomstick has most of it, so might try to get a hold of him. Do I have any big announcements to make? No, I don't. Justin's asking if I got any big announcements. Other than the shooting season starting up, it is official. I did end up winning the state of Oklahoma in ARA, so really happy with that. So I am definitely happy. RJ Smith 1630 says, can you speak on seasoning your barrel after changing different ammo? So RJ is a guy I was shooting with earlier today, and that was something we had discussed. So if you're changing, different ammos, like your SK and and your Ely and your Lapua, they use different lubes. SK and Lapua uses the same, but Ely uses a different lube, and I recommend it just even if you're changing brands. Shoot your 5 or 6 rounds just to make sure that you are seasoning your barrel back in for the different lubrication. Otherwise, when you shoot a group, it could be really funky and you think that the ammo just sucks, but in reality, it's having to shoot through the different kind of lubrication that was from previous ammo. So I would try to make sure that you are looking at that, and it just it really does help. Empty Pockets Paint Shop says, do you let the rifle free recoil or put pressure on it to keep it from moving? So a lot of people, like to shoot free recoil. Me personally, I lock it down almost to where it doesn't move at all. It moves just enough to where when I push it back forward, I know that I'm hitting the stop. It's just kind of one of them other precautions. Instead of locking it down and thinking you never have to bump it forward, well, you shoot through half a card and realize that you're a 1/4 inch from your stop. So I make it to where it just barely moves, and go from there. The putting the pressure on it, I do hold my gun a little bit. Some people don't, or they say not to, especially if you're shooting in a one piece. But I think it's just one of those things I can't get out of my head to where I do have to be touching the gun. But I do put just a little bit of cheek pressure and shoulder pressure. A lot of that comes from repetition, though. So I've shot enough where I think that I'm putting the same amount of pressure on pretty much every time I shoot, or at least if it's causing some kind of inaccuracy issues, I don't notice it. Excuse me. I got a question. What size or what magnification scope do I use? So bench rest, I would go big, but I also wouldn't go, out of your price range. So I would find something that is a second focal plane. I would make sure that you are using something that the reticle is not going to get any bigger. And then magnification, it's hard for me to say this, but I wouldn't stress on going big. I have a 60 power and a 55 power scope, but I don't run them that high. So that's something you're going to want to kind of pay attention to, and go from on your budget. There's a lot of good scopes that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on, that are also not 60 power. Excuse me. So if you get something that's like really high in magnification but cheap, then a lot of times it's going to be really cloudy. You're not going to be happy with it. But my best advice for what scope to use is definitely a second focal plane, and you're going to want something at least big enough to where you can see what you're shooting. Excuse me. Okay. J. Crow says, I got a box from Chad and I'm afraid to put it through any gun. I would probably be afraid of that too. I don't know if I'd tell him that, and if he's still on here watching. Oops. Let's see. Dead to Range says, my friend wears a semi-auto. Well, it is something I'm working on. But girlfriend's gun is coming first, so I got to work on that. But a semi-auto is definitely in my future. It will probably be 3 or 4 months till it is kind of coming around, but it will definitely be here at some point. So yes, I am stepping off into the semi-automatic world. Just something to play with. Probably won't shoot any matches with it because there's not a semi-automatic like ABRA class anywhere around here. So want to make sure I'm using something that I can actually shoot at a match. Do you use a rubber tube attached to my trigger guard? So if you're talking about a band, like a tension band, I don't, because I shoot locked down. If it's not really doing you any good. So for those of you that don't know what a band is, basically it wraps around the front of your rest. A lot of people use it on a one piece versus a two piece, but you can use it for both. But basically it's just going to push the gun back forward for you. It's just another precaution on making sure that you do get it pushed forward. So that's something you're going to want to kind of judge on if you need a band or not, is if you shoot locked down or not. If you shoot locked down, you don't need a band. Oh, let's see. And we've got, hi, George. I see you on here. RJ Smith says, how do you adjust off the scope to see your wind and make the correction? So, I shoot with both eyes open. And I recommend you trying to learn that if you don't. I know it's kind of a weird thing because you're always taught to close an eye when you shot. You know, that way, like, you can see it out of, you know, even when you're looking through the scope, you can kind of see your flags. But especially when, you know, you're shooting through a one piece, you know, your one piece will hold your gun in place. So get your gun kind of where you want on target. Come up for a second. Watch your wind flags. Make sure they're doing what you want. And then get back down on the gun and shoot. The perks of shooting with both eyes open is, you know, you can kind of see that a little bit better without actually having to come all the way up. So it definitely does help. Data Range says you're going to need a semi-auto for a few of the challenges this year. Well, good. Like I said, I want to try to get into the shooting challenge stuff. You know, I probably won't be able to shoot every challenge target, but I would like to be able to kind of pick, you know, a couple different ones throughout the year to shoot. So, Porky Pig says, when shooting, do you bite your tongue like Kentucky Rimfire does? I try to do the exact opposite of what Chad does. No, I'm just kidding. No, I always got taught when I was younger that if I had that out, I was going to lose it. So I try to keep my tongue in my mouth. J. Crow says, have I ever played around with ammo, lube, bullet formers, and etc.? I have not. You know, I've had some people kind of talk about that they like certain ammos better, but they don't like that lube, but their gun doesn't like the lube. If it doesn't really like the lube that the ammo's got, then it's probably not going to like the ammo, and I'm just going to stay away from it. Chad says, I feel like you are falling in love with the Soul and neglecting your 2500. Part of that is true. I am definitely enjoying the Soul. It is definitely fun to shoot. The 2500 kind of just comes out for matches. So the best ammo that I've got is for that gun. So that lot number and that gun basically just come out for competitions, and that's it. But I guess I will announce, because I was telling you guys on Chad's show, or at least, you know, the ones that watch both, that I was going to get an Anschutz for my girlfriend. Well, I fooled around today and found another Sewell 150. It's a custom gun built by Gorham that I'm getting her. So she does know about it, so she's still watching this show. But that is going to be her gun. So probably a couple months till I get the gun, but that is definitely in the near future. George says, you guys in your automatic squirrel guns. Yeah, I need to take one of these guns back behind here, squirrel hunt, and make a video. That'd be kind of funny. Southern Ohio 22 LR says, do you know if there's a wait for the PQP rest? As far as I know, no. You just go on their website and order them. I haven't seen that there are behind. As far as I know, they're not. On their one pieces or their rear rests, they both are good. So it is, they're definitely a good thing to have. If you shoot off a two-piece, the rear rest is very good. And I'm not just saying that. I really do love the product, and they are definitely great people, and you know, willing to work with you and make sure that you're happy. So that speaks a lot for me. So Justin says, I've been shooting both eyes open for most of last year. It definitely is weird to get used to, but it does seem to help quite a bit. That was, yeah, exactly the opposite. Oh, man. Sewell's a new side chick. Pretty much. No, I just, I kind of fell in love with a Sewell. I won my first factory style match with a Sewell that was loaned to me. So that was definitely nice. I did enjoy it. I mean, I started, once I got my first actual bench rest gun, it was an Anschutz 54 match, which I still have. But for whatever reason, I like the Sewell just a little bit better, and I don't know if that's just because of how pretty the one that I have is or what, but it definitely is nice. Ron Hoffman says, what reticle do I use? Well, I've got about 6 different scopes. Most of them have a dot in the middle. I do have my Night Force on my Sewell that doesn't have a dot. It's just got the lines. It's definitely kind of weird at first, and I'm still kind of trying to get used to it because I've always used a dot. So not having that dot to look at is a little different, but it's hard to beat how clear Night Force is. So if you're looking or trying to decide on what reticle to get, I would make sure that I would get something with a dot. Let's see. She says, "Yay!" Yeah, she better be excited. I think it's gonna be expensive, but no. So she's gonna. My girlfriend and me are gonna try to go to some bench rest shoots this year. She went to a couple with me last year, which is weird to say because this is the first of the year, but and seemed to have fun. So took her to her first bench rest match a couple weeks ago, and she seemed to have a good time. Charlie Wilder says, "Do you completely clean your barrel every time you clean, or do you sometimes just clean the carbon ring?" So what I'll do when I get done shooting a card, and I clean my custom guns after every card. So what I will do is I will get a patch, put 3 or 4 different, like 3 or 4 drops of oil kind of around it, and push it all the way through. Then I will take a bronze brush and go just in and out of the chamber to get the carbon ring out. I don't take the bronze brush all the way down the barrel. And then I just do about 3 wet patches and then a dry one, and then I go back to shooting the next card. When I get back home, I'll run a borescope through it and kind of check it just to see, you know, if there's some stuff built up in the barrel that I need to actually scrub out, and then I will scrub it. I didn't have to do it much this past year, but I did do it every once in a while. Let's see. Jack and Jill says, "I bought my wife a rifle once. She almost shot me with it. Now I buy her womanly gifts. LOL." Hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully it'll be locked down and her PQP rest, and we won't have to worry about that. So, TJ Fishing said, "Don't forget to add a like." Yeah, if you guys could like this video, it'd be appreciative. Like I said, hope it's going okay. It's my first, try it one. Won't have these every week. It'll kind of be like a quarterly, maybe a monthly thing, depending on, what you guys think or how you guys like it. Let's see, Joe Rose, what wind flags or wind read device do you use? So I've got a couple different sets. I just transitioned over into some Dan Keeney flags. They just seem to be a little more precise on wind changing directions. So I've only used those at a couple matches, but before that, I used some custom 3D printed ones. So there's a guy that lives here pretty close that we shoot with that he has definitely helped me out a lot, and we sat down and we kind of worked on some wind flags. So he made him a set. I said I got to have those. So he made me a set. We tried to critique them. So there's about 3 or 4 of us that have those. So I still have that set. But I will probably switch over and be using my Keeney flags for the majority of this shooting year. They just seem to be a little bit more sensitive to your switchy winds. So when are you going to do the Prude video? I'm guessing it says, when am I going to do the Party Tune video maybe? Keith Barnes, I don't know exactly what that word is that you're trying to say, so you might double check that. Empty Pockets Paint Shop says, "Why do you clean between every card?" Well, I don't like my gun to be crusty. I'd like for it to keep shooting, and it's just something that it works for me and my rifle. They like to be clean, especially these two. My Anschutz likes to be a little dirtier, so I don't clean it as much, but it definitely does make the gun shoot better when it's clean, and that's something that you're going to want to kind of make sure that you're checking. For me, I'm a clean your gun always guy, but that is just my opinion. I know I know we differ on that. Yeah, it says dirty rifles can shoot too, and that is true. But for me, when they're dirty, I might as well be throwing them. So I will continue to clean my guns. Keith Barnes says, "Yes, Purdy tune." So I plan on doing a whole tuning video. I'm kind of working on doing some filming for that, so it's going to take me a little while because I'm going to try to throw your Hopewell tuning, your Purdy tuning, all in one video. So it'll be a little bit longer of a video than I normally put out, but hopefully it'll kind of give you guys some good insight. So really trying to make sure I get that perfected before I put out. So probably be another month or so, but hopefully I can get it done here pretty soon. Porky Pig says, have I thought about getting some of Hillbilly's wind flag dampeners? Well, I thought about it, but the way those seem to blow away, I don't know if I've got enough rocks. So you may have to make a bigger version, as it has been pretty windy here lately. So might have to hit him up on that though. Let's see. Jeff Lee says Mike cleans once a year. Yeah, I know. I really don't know how that gun was still shooting, but he knows what he's doing. So Keith Barnes says spell check keeps changing it to prude. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of spell check. Always changes stuff around and talk to text does the same stuff. So Jack and Jill says you're a blessing to the sport. Keep up the good work. Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, this has definitely been some of the best experiences of my lifetime getting into bench rest, and that's kind of why I decided to start making the videos. Was just, I want people to not be afraid to get in there and go to matches, or just even shoot at the house and have a lot of fun. So I would definitely encourage anybody to get after it. If you leave it dirty, will you always have doubt? There's another excuse for you. Day at the range is saying that. Yeah, I try to make sure that I've got my stuff together. But I guess it would be a good excuse. So I guess I could just use the excuse on, well, I didn't run enough patches through it. So when I cleaned it, it's not as clean as normal. So Jose, you were right. Some rifles don't like to be clean, and shoots doesn't care. Yeah, I've seen that too. So a lot of the guys at our range has different, they have Anschützes and stuff like that, 52s, and some of them they like never clean them. They straight up Mike Moore it, and then some of them they don't clean them near as much, and some of them it doesn't really seem like it matters as much. I don't know if it's just the type of barrel or what, but I can tell you that my custom guns better be clean. Justin Lowe says, how many rounds does it take to Purdy tune? Well, in reality, just to get it to the Purdy tune original number, 0. So the way the Purdy tune works, and I'm going to try to do a video on the tuning video. Basically, you get your exact barrel length. So the way you can do that is get a cleaning rod, stick an O-ring on one side of the cleaning rod or on the end of it, run that down your barrel through the tuner side until it touches your finger. Open the bolt and stick your finger in the chamber, and when it touches, that'll give you your overall barrel length. You plug that into a formula. You can get the formula online. When I make my video, I'll make sure I put that in the video. And then you can get, depending on if you're running a tube, like me, I've got a 6-inch tube, a 10-inch tube, and like a 5 1/4-inch tube. I think somebody cut it down. Your most common ones are 6 and 10-inch, or just bare tuner. And you can figure out how to get your Purdy tune based off of the accessories that you have on the end of your gun, and it'll give you another length. So like if your barrel is 24 inches, it may give you a length of 34 inches. So then you slide that O-ring on your cleaning rod out to 34 inches or whatever the number is, and then you take your tuner or tube or whatever to the very end of your gun, whatever it is. If it's the end of a tuner, a weight, tube, and spin that to the O-ring to get that length. That's your Purdy tune. So your Purdy tune strictly goes off of the length, not weight, nothing like that. So if you're using the weights, you use them as a spacer for the Purdy tune. So like my 2500X, it is Purdy tuned. It has a 6-inch tube and a 1/2-inch weight or spacer. So that's something, if you want to do a Purdy tune, it's a pretty cool method. And a lot of times, like, it'll get you pretty close. So if you do the deal where you shoot and you spin it, 0, 100, all the way to 500, which is called the Hopewell method, if y'all didn't know that, depending on how your tuner number comes out. So like if your Purdy tune says 100, and then your Hopewell tune says 105, then that'll kind of give you a good idea that they're both pretty close. If they come off like way off, which I've not really seen a lot, you might want to try to make sure you got your numbers plugged in right to your Purdy tune again. and see about that. But it definitely is nice to have two different things to tune your gun, to try to make sure you can make your gun as accurate as possible. Let's see. RJ Smith says, "Why would a gun shoot stringers and not a solid group?" So, um, if you're going to shoot up or down, and there's not like a headwind or a tailwind, because that will cause your bullet to go higher and lower, a lot of that's tuning. So if it's vertical stringing, in 95% of the time it is tuning. So hopefully you shoot at a range where there's left or right to wind, not front to back. Front to back is really kind of hard to judge because it's going to cause your bullet to go higher and lower. But if you're shooting at a range where it is left to right, if it is kind of directly straight up and down stringiness, a lot of times that's tuner. And the reason for that being is your barrel's whipping when you shoot. Well, if it's not in tune, then it's not going to be, when you shoot it, the bullet's not going to be exiting from the same exit spot on your barrel every time, because it's going to be whipping different. So you're going to want to make sure that you get your gun tuned so you can take out that vertical stringing. Otherwise, you're going to have a long match, or just a long time shooting at your house, and it's a pain in the butt, makes you want to pull your hair out. Gram wind flags work great also. Yes, I've not messed with gram flags, but I know quite a few people shoot them. And that's the thing. Like I can't just sit here and recommend one brand of wind flags. There's a bunch of good ones out there. You just want to get you wind flags that are sensitive for wind, because the more sensitive are, the better they're going to read your wind, especially your light wind. And that's the wind that a lot of people take for granted. Where they won't use wind flags, and they'll be like, I'm good. There's not enough wind here to matter. There's always enough wind to matter. I don't care if it's 1 mile an hour. If, it could be the difference in you barely shooting and missing where you're aiming, depending on what target you're shooting. Like if you're shooting an ARA, it may be the difference in 100 or a 50 or 100 or an X. And in tight race matches, that can be everything. So that's something that is very key to bench rest, is wind flags. And, you can't see what you can't shoot. So, if you don't have wind flags, you can't see what wind is out there. It's kind of like going outside in the dark without a flashlight and expecting to see what's out there. So I highly encourage everybody to get wind flags. And if you don't have them, you're probably not going to do that great. Kentucky Rimfire says, "Well, I witnessed you shooting a 52D, so now tell us, how does it compare to your custom builds?" Well, that one, that 52D does shoot. I know that. I don't think it's going to keep up with a custom gun. I know that there's better 52s out there. I shot one with a friend of mine today that would outshoot that 52 that I've got, and I do know that. We might have to do a head-to-head video on that sometime. That'd be kind of fun. But it does shoot, and that's something that I can't stress enough to people. Again, is you don't have to have a custom gun. You don't even have to have like a Winchester 52 or an Anschutz or something like that. I mean, if you have that, yeah, it's going to help. The more accurate gun you have. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can have the best gun in the world and not win a match. And you see it a lot. You can't buy your way a championship in bench rest. It's just not going to happen. You got to know what you're doing. TJ Fishing says, up and down front action screw. The front action screw can be definitely a factor too. Like I said, in my opinion, a lot of times it's tuning. In your action screws, you can mess with torquing, because that does change a lot. Let's see. RJ Smith says 52s are awesome for sure. So for those of you who don't know, that's the guy that I was just bragging on his 52. So he may have a big head now, but it does shoot. The gun definitely does its part. Dave Range says, I want in on this Winchester 52 shoe. Yeah, we may have to just make like a Winchester 52 challenge target or something. I think that would be kind of cool. So we may have to get together and work on something like that, because I think it'd be kind of fun to do that, and do one with like Anschutz and different stuff. So Justin says, I'm seeing a 52 challenge for 2026. Well, I don't know if I still want to be in it now that Justin's in there, but no, I think that would be kind of fun, a way to kind of bring people together and and get out here and do the sport that we all love, and kind of take the competition to a personal level, and not have to worry about all these people with all kinds of money, and I think it'd be fun. So we may have to definitely do something like that. So uh, let's see. Excuse me, I got this cough now. I don't know why, but all right, Mark Lachey. Howdy, I've been shooting ARA factory class. Finished second here in the state tournament in Michigan. I tested the waters in a limited class. I have to have a 52B, C, and D's, and a 40X. Cool. I mean, I know you're not shooting those in factory class. What gun were you shooting in the ARA factory? Congrats on second in the state tournament. And yeah, I mean, you might as well try it. I mean, you got them guns. You'll never know, how you're going to do in a match unless you go and try it. And if you don't try it, you may never know. And that's what I'm saying. Take what you got and go for it. See, Chad says you guys never learned calling out Justin. Hey, I told you when I saw him, I may have to, get out of this challenge. But no, it'd be fun, just I'll get around and shoot a 52 target. And I knew this comment was coming. 1022 Unlimited Challenge this year. Absolutely. Well, let's do it in the second half of the year so I got time to mess with mine. But I am 100% down for any kind of 1022 challenge or something like that. Mark says, do you think they can compete in Unlimited? Well, if they're factory Winchesters or a 40X, I mean, anything can compete. I mean, you can take a 1022 and compete. Are you going to win? Probably not. With a 40X and a 52, if you know your stuff and you've got the right ammo and the right tune and the right rest setup and stuff like that, I mean, on the right day, yeah. Do I think as a whole it'll keep up with a custom gun? Probably not. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't be so quick to try to upgrade to one. I mean, if that's something you got the money and your budget for, go for it. I see a lot of people try to upgrade too fast, and they think, well, my gun's not going to hang. I got to buy the next one. Again, it goes back to if you can take time to honing your skills in, reading the wind, ammo testing, lot testing. When you do step up and get a custom gun, it's just going to seem way, way easier to go from being on the bottom half of the scores to the top half of the scores. And like I said, so my personal opinion would be if you've got a 40X and your 52s like you're talking about, Mark, I would probably stick with those for a little while. Let's see. Justin says, I'm game for that too. Yeah, I think doing a 1022 or a 52 one would be a lot of fun. So we may have to see about doing that. Ron Hoffman says, talk about action, talk about torques on the action screws. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but you don't just snug up action screws on a gun. That's not how that works. So a lot of times you can play with different torque settings. Start at 20, go up to 40. If your bedding's good, you're probably not going to need to go up past 40. Most of them are right around that. If you have a bedding issue, if you're wondering having a bedding issue, like personal experience for me, the very beginning of this year, this 2500 was in a different stock. It was on a Rotex. It wasn't a stock issue. It had been skim bedded, and the skim bedding was getting a little bit older and had some, it was kind of coming out. And it was one of those deals where we ended up torquing my gun down to 60. And it helped, which is weird. A lot of people say you don't torque a gun down that tight, and I would agree with that. But if it has a bedding issue, all you're doing is smashing that in tighter, so it's going to help with that bedding issue. So torque screws or something, or action screws, is something that definitely matters, that a lot of people kind of overlook. So if you're wanting something else to go and mess with, I would go and mess with your action screws and see if you can make it shoot better or not. Mark says Bergara B14 carbon and factory class. Cool. Like I said, the Bergara B14 was, carbon and the steel was definitely a front runner in ARA Unlimited. I mean, obviously there was your CZs and your Tikas and stuff like that, but the Bergara B14 seemed to be a lot more consistent, especially at the top of the leaderboards. So they definitely are very good guns. TJ Fishing says Ruger American 243 was 90 pounds on the front. Jeez. Have to get a cheater bar to get one that tight. Not really, but man, that's tight. Mark says, thanks for the input. I'll take that advice. Thanks for the great content you provide. With the rest of the guys here, I watch on YouTube. Well, hey, I appreciate that. Like I said, that's I think that's what the the whole purpose of especially a couple of the guys that are on here and on Chad's show tomorrow night and me is if we're not helping to grow the sport, eventually it's going to die off, and it definitely needs to expand, and especially with younger people. There's not a lot of younger people doing this sport, and no matter your age or anything like that, it's never too late or too early to get into bench rest, in my opinion, and I highly encourage anybody to get into it. Hey, there's Dave. He's a 52 challenge. I'm in. Let's get it going in 2026. Absolutely. I think that would be pretty cool. To see if there was like a, 52B is got the, top of the leaderboards, or if there's a specific type of 52 that does the best. I think that would be kind of cool. So we'll definitely have to at least set up a challenge target and shoot that. I know that there's quite a few people that would want to do that. Me being one myself. Jose says some rifles shoot better with different torque settings. My CZ's like 35 to 40 inch pounds. Yeah. Like I said, most of your stuff is going to be 35 to 40. I think both of these guns are at 40. And I think if I remember right, my Anschutz is at 38. Well, it was at 38. The stock's out of it now because it got clear coated. So it is in the final stages of getting done. So it will definitely look a lot different than the last Anschutz video that I had. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. It is definitely a very pretty stock. I can tell you that. Let's see. J. Crow, do you plan on to shoot more of the same amount of matches in 2026? Any goals to share? So I definitely exceeded my expectations shooting matches this year. I never would have thought that I could have won the state and, been in the top 30 in the nation. And that's not one of them things saying it to brag, but that's also, hopefully encourages some of you guys to go out and try it because you never know where you're going to end up unless you go for it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but if you're willing to put the work in, it will show results wise. Matches, I'm going to probably shoot a lot of the same matches. I may not shoot as many club matches, like an ARA, and I think it's the same for factory. But in a limited, you have to shoot 40 targets to be officially ranked in the nation. You can still have a ranking, but you'll be underneath the cut line. So it's quote unquote unofficial if you don't have 40 targets. So I will make sure I get my 40 cards in, but then I will probably try to go to maybe indoor nationals this year, maybe the Triple Crown. I'd like to try to go to those. So definitely try to play around with some bigger matches, but still go into the club matches like I do. So a lot of the same stuff, but maybe a couple bigger ones in there. Let's see here. Mike Moore says, I need the sport to keep growing for business. Yeah, absolutely. And definitely, if there's not people getting into the sport, then it's just going to die off, and that's something we definitely don't want. So, Data Range says, my bet would be on the 52C. I believe they have the best factory triggers. I guess we'll have to see with the Winchester 52 challenge. So, we'll have to work on getting that and get that going and shoot that, because I think that'd be pretty cool. Justin says, Dave, the challenge isn't who has the most 52s. Well, if that was the case, I'm pretty sure Dave would win that one. So, but there are some people that definitely have a bunch of them and a bunch of nice rifles. So, and a chassis or fiberglass, I agree with 30 inch pounds, but in a wood stock, no bedding, just nothing higher than 25 would compress the wood. So, I would recommend, if it's not bedded, to bed it. I think it's just going to help. I've not really seen an issue where a good bedding job hurts a gun. So if you're kind of wanting to try to figure out how to make your gun shoot a little bit better, as long as you know what you're doing, I would recommend bedding one or having somebody that does know what they're doing bed one. It will definitely, in my opinion, and all this is just my opinion, but it would definitely help you. Uh, yeah, Dave has almost every 52. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can loan them out for the 52 challenge. Uh, there's Helping Man. Good evening. Nice to see you on here. And let's see. So I think we're about caught up. Like I said, I was planning on this going about an hour. I mean, it's went a lot better so far than I thought. So I mean, we might go a little longer than an hour if we still got some questions coming in. Um, a lot of that is up to you guys. I just don't want to, make it boring. So, but RJ Smith says sound like there's a 52 challenge. Yeah, sounds like it. I hope so. I think that would be fun. You may have to let that run for a couple months and then do an Anschutz challenge or something like that. Throw some different style guns in there. And maybe at the end of the year, a little challenge, something like that. I think stuff like that would be definitely a lot of fun. So, at the range says, "Oh yeah, there's a 52 challenge." Absolutely. Justin says you're on spot. If betting rifle doesn't help with the accuracy, then the betting wasn't the issue. Absolutely, and I mean, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen one when it got betted, it shot worse. If the betting was, if the betting job was good, and if it does shoot worse, then probably need to either rebet it, or if somebody else betted it for you, you might need to go talk to them because they may not know what they were doing. So. Helpman says just missed a 52 from the local forum. Still hunting for one. Yeah, they're around. I mean, they're obviously they're not making any more of them, so they're getting harder to get. But I guarantee you keep looking long enough, you can find one. Uh, Jack Jill says, "What are your thoughts on Lapua Pistol King?" So I know some people have had some good luck with it. I don't see a lot of people shooting it at ARA matches. But I mean, that also doesn't mean that it's not good ammo. I mean, I've seen some people do really well with it. I've personally not ever shot any Pistol King. I'd like to eventually, but it's kind of one of them deals. I'm not going to try to find somebody that's got some of it, get a little bit of it if I can't get more of it. Jose says Savage Mark II challenge. I know we may just have to have a challenge for every kind of 22 there is out there. Man, that'd be a lot of them, but that'd be kind of fun. Barrel tuner is going to be a part of the 52 challenge or all factory. Ooh, man, we may have to either have a tuning class or a non-tuning class, but I don't know if I want to take the tuner off mine to shoot, so I maybe have to have something we'll have to work on. But a lot of people don't know this. On a 52, that barrel band, you can use that barrel band as a tuner. So if you have a barrel band and you don't know what that's for, do some research on it. If you work on the screws on there, it is going to mess with your barrel a little bit and put some different pressure on there, and it will tune or untune your 52. So a lot of people don't know that, but some people do, and it definitely does change things. So might want to keep an eye on that. If your 52 has a barrel band, then you might look at it. Let's see. Tuners on, yeah. I hope tuners at 50 feet. George's asking, "Are you okay?" I wonder who exactly he's talking to. They hit the range. Brock, you need to help me get a tuner for my 52D so I can compete not threaded. Yeah, so my 52 is not threaded. Actually, pretty much all of my bench press guns are not threaded. So if you're wanting to get a tuner, if you look at oh, my mom went blank. Harrell's or Precision Quest products. You can order a tuner from them, and then just whatever your barrel diameter is, measure that with calipers, and you can have them bore that out to fit it, and then it'll slide right on. You clamp it on there and go to shooting. So might look at that. Oh, now Dave says no tuners. Man, we're going to either have to figure out tuners or no tuners, or have two different classes for tuners and no tuners. But um, Justin, I am right about the barrel tuner, right? With barrel band. And Justin says, me and George are out on the Savage Challenge. Yeah, I know. Well, I just started this Savage Challenge, and now we've got custom bench rest scabbages and all kinds of stuff. So let's see. Yes. Dave says they're on sale at Walmart for $3.50. Be a Mark II. I think it's that green one, the one that green stock. That's a pretty good price. Machine it. Yeah, yeah, Justin. You know, you can get somebody that's got a mill, and they can mill a tuner out to fit. So if you find one and it doesn't quite fit, you can pretty easily mill one out and make it fit. Or just says Harrell doesn't machine anymore. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with Harrell's. You know, I heard that they're just going down to part-time work and they weren't machining, or that they only machine on certain days. So I don't know what the deal is with there, but I know PQP does. And like I said, if they don't, I mean, you can just take it to a machinist and they can mill one out. Elijah, I have TE1000 tuners for sale. I've heard TE1000 tuners are pretty good. I've not messed with one, but I have heard that they are nice and they do the job. So Jeff Lee says, what's the average cost on a 52? I don't know if this is some kind of bait to try to find, you know, a 52. So I'm not going to necessarily throw a number out there, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of it depends on which kind. I mean, obviously your E's are way more expensive than the other ones because there's less of them. But I can tell you, you can find one for 1,000 beans or so, probably. Just depending on how nice it is and stuff like that. And I think they have them at the the Hasbro, and Justin and them were talking about that, the military deal where you can find them. So you might look at that. Jeff, what do you have to trade for a 52? Oh, we're making some trades here. J. Crow says PQP machine mine and mailed it out the next day. Yeah, they seem to be pretty quick on their stuff. And like I said, I can't stress it enough. The people over there are definitely very good people. So yeah, CMP, Justin. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, look at trying to get one from a CMP or something like that. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss on, you know, how good a one you're going to get, but it does seem to be a pretty good place to find one. So let's see. Dave says he can make you a tuner this weekend. Dave Terrence says, do you need a tuner on the 1-inch barrels? There's a view that is against it. So like my barrels are straight 900s. I run a tuner on all of them. On a 1-inch barrel, I would say yeah. Like some PQP did just come out with their big barrel tuner, so it goes out to 1.25 inches. So if you guys have a big barrel and you're wanting to put a tuner on it, they do have those now. I did see that the other day. I would say the bigger the barrel is in diameter, the less a tuner is going to help it, because the beefier a barrel is, the less it's going to whip. So you know, I'm not saying a tuner wouldn't help it. I just don't think it's going to help it as much as it would like a straight 900 or something like that. But I would definitely try it, and that's something I'm going to do with that barrel that I put on my Bergara, the IBI barrel. It's 1.25 inches. So I'm going to try that. Justin says, I'm fine either way, tuner or not. I'm not scared. Well, yeah, if you got enough 52s, you got some with a tuner and some without, you know. No wonder you'd be all right with it. I guess if we go no tuner, can I just not film the part of the tuner? You know, just film about that far back from the gun. Does that count? But no, even if it's no tuner, I'll take the tuner off that thing and try it. Like I said, I've not shot it without a tuner, but won't know until we try it. So whatever we decide, I'm cool with it. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Oh, RJ Smith says no tuner on the 52 challenge and shoot CCI standard. There you go. I don't know if you're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to shoot CCI standard through their 52s, but I'd be for it. Might as well try it. I know Jose. If he had a 52, he'd be all for it. He likes that more budget friendly ammo. So something you might have to look at. So well, I can't thank you enough for how this live stream's going. I wasn't really sure how it was going to go, and it says on my phone I've got 34 people watching. So like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. That's awesome. You guys take time out of your night to join us here on the very first day of the new year. So Justin says CCI. Yeah, told you you're going to get some of that. A lot of people are going to be afraid. There you go. Day of the Range says I'm afraid of CCI. A lot of people are. Like I said, I don't know why CCI won't come out with a more match grade. Kind of like they tried with the green tag, but something that would actually work. I never really had any luck with the green tag. I don't know if anybody watching did, but I tried a little bit of it a while back. Wasn't really a fan. I actually thought the CCI standard velocity shot better, but I mean, you'd think they would take the same setting that they have and just tighten their tolerances, slow their machine down a little bit. But that's something you might look at. Jose says weigh it. Yeah, may have to. I don't know. I ain't got that kind of time, or don't choose to use that kind of time. I'll just buy a little more expensive ammo and not have to worry about it. Dave says no CCI ammo. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to have a popular opinion there, shooting CCI. But like I said, that would DG let me canvas, see if we can get a sponsor. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like I said, do a year-long 52 challenge or whatever. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and so a lot of people got 52s, and I think it would kind of help more people to kind of get get into it and stuff like that, and not have to worry about not having a custom gun or nothing like that. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. Any thoughts on CZ with Lilja barrels? Looking to upgrade this coming year. I mean, I've had good luck with Lilja barrels. I mean, I had one on a Lone Star action for a while. And I ended up getting rid of it to a buddy of mine, trying to help him get into the sport. But I mean, you can definitely always upgrade from whatever you got. The CZ depends on what style of shooting you want to do. If you want to do strictly bench rest, I mean, I'd probably try to go for a single shot or an older target gun. But if you're trying to do other things or do multiple styles of shooting with the same gun, then in my opinion, that's a pretty good option. We have indoor winter league starting where you have to use CCI standard. Ooh, Jeff Lee says we got an indoor winter league starting where you got to use CCI standard. Well, that'd be kind of neat. Kind of like to see some of the scores on that. So, Jeff, you go to shooting the matches, you have to send me some pictures of the targets and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. RJ says, okay, TAC 22 ammo then. Yeah, that might be a little bit better. Everything 22 says SK all the way. Do not overlook. Those are Walther barrels. Yeah, I've heard they're pretty good. I got a Walther that doesn't shoot bad, so like I said, Walther makes some good stuff. Their plan is, or their U.S. based plant or business is about 45 minutes from the house here. So, like I said, I've been in there a couple times. Got to go walk around in their facility, and it's definitely pretty cool. But I think most of it over here in the States is air gun stuff. Like I said, I think they make a couple of stuff that's not air guns here, but I think the majority of what they have is air guns. Let's see. Minnesota Mike iron sight challenge is looking good. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get a set of iron sights where I can go shoot that. Like peep sights or something like that. Chris Ryan says it loves SK rifle mat. Yes, it does. So Chris is the guy that owns that Lone Star now. And it does shoot SK rifle match pretty well. No CCI, not good ammo for a challenge. Yeah, you'd have to make the targets kind of big, or with a bunch of different bullet holes all around it. And that you have to try to just shoot in the middle and hope you can score good like that. Jose says Lilja's good in my book. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing that I have seen or heard on Lilja, and I don't know if this is true or not. This is just kind of coming from some people that shoot bench rest, or at least ARA, is I've heard that the Littlejohn barrels longevity is not as long as some of the other barrels. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but might might look at that. So just put iron sights back on. Oh, resizing dies seem to be some success. Hang on, let me get back up here. Hate the range says leather Walters air gauge for their costs. That's what my son was shooting on the last video. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can get that is not going to break the bank, and I think that's something a lot of people don't realize is they think, well, I have to have the best of the best to go and shoot challenge targets or compete, and that's not the case, and that's something that I wish that more people could kind of get into their head and realize, and I think a lot of people just generally don't know. You don't have to have the most expensive of everything to go and compete. So just put iron sights back on my Model 5 Bruno, or Borno, however you want to say it. Yeah, the on the Brunos or whatever, Bornos, however you want to say it, they seem to be pretty good guns. I've got a buddy that's got one, and it does seem to shoot pretty good for what it is, which is just kind of CZ before it was CZ, right? Somebody may correct me in the side chat, but I think that's correct. Kevin, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but Kevin says $8 for SK Standard Plus is cheap and fairly consistent across most platforms. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you don't have to go and buy, Lapua X-Act or Ely 10X to shoot good. Yeah, is it probably going to be more consistent ammo in the long run? Yeah. Me personally, if you don't know me, I've shot Ely Team for as long as I can remember, and will probably continue to do that. Yeah, you're going to have some bad lots, obviously, but there is some good lots and a lot of ammo. So the only thing you're going to have to kind of worry about, is, traditionally in your cheaper ammo, you're going to have more flyers or inconsistency on velocities. But you can come across a pretty good lot that will shoot really well. Chris says Fort Smith is pistol repair and air rifle mainly. Yeah, it's a pistol repair. Yeah, so I don't think they actually manufacture any actual guns, just air rifles. So I agree that CZ 457 with Littlejohn shot very well for me. You can set up to single shot. Yeah, they have where you can do that, or I've seen a lot of people use like a 3D printed magazine that only has a ramp to where you can just shoot a single shot. So that does help. Like I said, a lot of that, in my opinion, what gun you use would just come down to what you're wanting to do shooting wise. Ed the Range says irons are so much fun. I think I'm going to leave my irons on my 52C. That's going to be my plan eventually with my Anschutz probably, or I'll get another Anschutz later on once I recover from all of my custom guns that I've been buying, and just have one strictly for peep sights. I think that'd be fun to do, and I've not ever shot with peep sights before, like bench rest style peep sights, so I think it would be pretty cool. Everything 22 says great live. Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, appreciate each and every person watching. I was going to go for an hour, but there's a lot more people on here than I figured would be. So if you guys think we should keep going, I'm 100% down to do that. Justin says Minnesota Mike's target is too small for matchup with 50 yards sights, in my opinion. I need to go look at that target. I haven't messed with it much. I've heard about it, and I need to try to get some peep sights where I can go shoot it. Elijah, I agree on iron sights. I like them too. Jess says, what's the purpose of the PQP bloop tube having the collar and nylon screws? Okay, so a lot of people don't, which I don't shoot with one, so I can't really, say that they work or don't work. But what that is that's just an extra weight. So the little collar on there, you basically you stick it on there, getting it, stick the tube on there, getting it shooting, and then you stick that weight on there, just like you do a mid-barrel tuner, and you shoot it and then move it a little bit, shoot it, move it a little bit, and then just mark where you're moving it. That way, if you're happy with where one of those are, you can leave it there. So it's just another form of tuning with just like a sliding style weight, kind of like a mid-barrel tuner. Good night, Chad. Thanks for stopping in. So I don't know if you'll have your live tomorrow. I'm guessing you will. So I'll see you on there. Thanks for stopping in. Everything 22 says live once a month would be good in my mind. Yeah, I may try to do something like that. I know I can't do it every week. Like I said, I'll still continue to be on Chads as much as I can, but once the shooting season starts up, I get pretty busy around the weekends, so doing live streams are harder to do, especially during the weekdays because I work night shift. So definitely we'll try to do these at least a couple times, and kind of answer as many questions as I can. John Martin, hey buddy. John's a guy that shoots local range to me. Very good guy. He says you need your Nerdle or red fill on that 52. I do like good people. Yeah, I know. I may have to work on that or do something. That'd be kind of fun. I definitely would be happy. Kentucky says we will have a live tomorrow from Dave's living room. Cool. I look forward to that. That'll be kind of fun. Glad you guys are going down there and getting with Dave. That's cool to see. Like I said, hopefully I can try to do some of that and maybe come down when we have that shoot sometime this spring or whenever y'all decide to have it, and get together and shoot with people. That's pretty cool. So, hey, there's Cyclops. What's going on? Good to have you on here. Hope you are doing well. Let's see. Justin Lowe said, I'm going to hop off too. See you tomorrow, Dave. So, see you, Justin. You and Chad have safe travels. Hope you guys don't have any issues and get to go hang out with Rimfire Dave for a little while. So, that'll be a lot of fun. So, Michael Cossins saying hi. Howdy. Hope you're doing good. I'm probably going to cut this off about the hour and a half mark. I think that'll be a good time to end this. Like I said, I was going to go to an hour, but you guys, there's a lot more people on here and commenting and asking questions than I figured it would be. So I really can't thank y'all enough. But no, like I said, we're kind of caught up with questions right now. So like I said, if anybody's got any kind of worry on trying to get into bench rest or don't know if they should make that jump on going to matches, they just shoot at their house. You're never going to know if you don't try. I would 100% encourage you, and I can't stress it enough to keep trying and getting better and go to matches. I mean, you're never going to find out just how good you are, how you're doing, unless you go to actual matches. And then definitely don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about, well, hey, I can't shoot a 2400 or whatever. Then pay attention to you and yourself and how you're shooting, and as long as your scores are getting better, then that's what matters. So let's see. Dave says good night. Good night, Dave. Nice to have you on here. Appreciate you stopping in. I hope you guys have a good time hanging out and learning some stuff. And Chris Ryan says next is Tuner, always looking for ammo. That's for sure. Ammo is kind of seeming to get a little harder to get, especially SK and Lapua. And I don't see it getting any easier for a little while. But if you can get it, I'd say jump on it. That's why I shoot Ely ammo, just because I can get more of it, and kind of go from there. So let's see. Data Range says any recommended gunsmith for Remington 37s. Most of the gunsmiths I know, they just kind of build the custom guns because it's kind of the world that I'm in. So I don't know for sure. I mean, I can talk to a couple people that I know and see if they would repair a Remington 37. And I will get with you. So Justin said we got to shoot with Hasbro, Steve, John from living in Southwest Virginia, and Tommy 22 today. Yeah, I saw the scores. That was pretty cool. Seemed like there was a pretty good turnout. So if you don't know what that shoot was, it was UBR. So that's something they're just kind of starting up, doing, and it seems to be pretty dang cool. So if you've got a range that would shoot UBR, I would definitely go and shoot it. You can shoot a match, a whole match, 4 or 5 cards, and a lot less ammo than you can like ARA and stuff like that. So it's a good way to conserve on ammo, but still have the camaraderie and a competition. So they definitely are doing some cool stuff. Excuse me. Let's see, there's a couple people answering some other questions in the side chat, which we always love to see. Yeah, Chris says, don't worry about your score and how, just worry about your score and how to improve. Absolutely. I mean, biggest thing is just trying to tune your skills. I mean, you might go and win your first match. You never know, but don't make that your goal. Obviously, yeah, you're competing to win, but you're also competing to make yourself better. So the better you can get, the happier you're going to be in the long run. So practice reading to win. That's the biggest thing you can do. That is so important, and a lot of people just kind of throw it out the gutter or whatever, and it's something that kind of blows my mind where people, at least some people are like, yeah, you don't need a wind flag to shoot. If you want to shoot good, you do. Yeah, you might get lucky if it's like dead calm, but if you shoot in any kind of wind, you better have some wind flags. J. Crow says, what do you do with your ammo on cold days or hot days? Anything. I mean, if it's like really cold, I'll try to put it in my pocket, just to kind of keep that wax a little warmer. I've heard stories of people, getting them coffee cup warmers and portable ones and sticking their ammo on that, just to try to keep the wax warm. So, I mean, I try not to make sure that it's like real cold, but I also don't shoot when it's super cold most of the time either. I think the lowest temperature we shot in this year was like, high 40s, low 50s, something like that. So, I mean, it wasn't too bad. But I do try to make sure I just keep ammo in my pocket or something like that. So that does definitely help. Let's see. Jeff Lee says, how many flags do you use? So, I'm ARA, I shoot 50 yards and I use 4 to 6 flags. And a lot of that just depends on how windy it is. I take, like most of the year, I had my 4 3D printed wind flags, so I only had 4. I do shoot with another guy, so when there was 2 relays, we would, I would have 4 wind flags and he would have a couple indicators. Now I've got 6 wind flags, so I will shoot predominantly probably 5 wind flags. The 6 wind flag is at one range, since I'm left-handed. When they draw for benches, I'm kind of automatically by default on the farthest bench on the right, because I'm on the other side of the bench as everybody else, and they're kind of narrow together. So with that being the case, I bring extra wind flags with me now to where I can put 4 in a row in front of me and then 2 out off to the right, because there's nobody else to the right and I can see wind coming in. So that's something else you kind of want to do is get used to the ranges that you shoot at and try to figure out how to help give yourself an advantage, because it's a game of millimeters, and anything you can do to help you shoot just a little bit better is going to help a whole lot on scorecards. So it's something you really want to try to pay attention to. Let's see. Empty Pocket says hand warmers and a cooler for cold weather. Yeah, hand warmers would be a good thing. I hadn't actually thought about that, but that'd be something easy and disposable you could just throw in your range box, and when it was cold, open a couple of them up and keep your hands and your ammo warmer. So that's pretty smart. Chris says the more flags, the better. Absolutely. Justin says it was ammo in your pocket day today. Justin, if you're still on, how cold was it there today? Like I said, it seemed to be a pretty good turnout, so I don't figure it was crazy cold, but you know. TJ Fishing says, do you practice in the wind much? Yes, probably not as much as I need to. Here lately, it's been pretty windy. So a lot of times I'll try to film a video. Luckily, my last couple videos, like the PSL one with the Sewell, conditions were great, which was kind of odd for the middle of the day here. But I will try to film a video and then go out and do a little practicing here at the house, and try to get to where I'm watching wind. Or a lot of times I'll just have wind flags set up and kind of just sit there and try to read them. Just because it is definitely something that I don't really care how good you are. I don't think you'll ever be saying, well, hey, I know how to read wind flags too good. So it's definitely something that each and every person needs to continue to practice. So, with the cost of ammo and everything, I don't practice it as much as I should or I'd like to, but it is something that I highly encourage you guys to go and practice. Justin said it was in the low 30s. Ooh, okay, that's colder than I figured it would be. It's actually been really nice here the last couple of days. The beginning of the week was like got down to 21 or something like that, which is pretty cold for here. And like now, I think tomorrow it's like a high of 60 degrees or something like that. So I definitely can't complain. So I'm gonna try to get out and do some filming tomorrow, and kind of take advantage of shooting in nicer conditions. Don't know how the wind's gonna be, but hopefully tomorrow will go well. So try to get some more videos out. So only 100 degrees Fahrenheit here. Golly. Oh yeah, I forgot TJ's off. And TJ, where are you from again? But that is crazy. And Day at the Ranch says 21 ice all over the place from the sleet. Man, that's ain't gonna be no filming some videos for you for a little bit, or at least I wouldn't be out there. None of that. I do not like the cold weather, I can tell you that. She is from Australia. Yeah, I'd like to make it over sometime just to go on a trip. That'd be pretty cool. Australia seems like it's pretty cool place. So very neat, very neat. Well, we got any other questions anybody wants to get in before we close this thing out and end this? Like I said, once again, I've said it a couple times. I can't thank each and every one of you for getting on here and taking time out of your evenings to watch this and ask some questions and talk to some people in the side chat. So I think it's awesome that Benchfest has given all of us a platform to be able to meet people from all over the world. And like I said, the Benchfest community, in my opinion, is some of the best community and best people that I think you can meet. And I mean, there's almost always people willing to help you. So like I said, we're just under an hour and a half, but we're gonna end this. So with that, I appreciate all of you watching. Hope you guys have a awesome year of shooting bench rest. And if you're not already shooting competitions, I hope you get into it. We'll see y'all later.